Alright, we're Friday. This is Networking 200. We did a subnetting. Alright, so we did subnetting, worked on the lab, talked a little bit about transport layer, not a whole lot, and then they worked on the Wireshark labs. So, we took, it wasn't exactly the same, but it's similar to a packet tracer. Oh, by the way, this is I think day 23 already, and we are in week 12. Okay, so we took a packet tracer example, and I accidentally changed it a little bit, but that was okay. This was supposed to be like 30 instead of 40. So we set up the host, we set up a picture of the network, similar, not exactly the same, and then we went ahead and subnetted it. Excuse me. So, first thing we did, we counted the networks, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4 LANs and a WAN. So we have 5 networks, but we have varying number of hosts. Or what we did is, it's confusing. Some people say, how many hosts? Well, hosts are usually thought of as devices on the network, but we also need an address for the interface. Okay, need an address for the interface, right? So it's there, there, and there. And those have to come out of our address pool, whatever addresses we're using, and this happens to be the one we're using here. So I think it'd be better in the future if we just talk about interfaces. How many interfaces need to connect? Because, you know, you could have a device with multiple connections. A simple example is laptop could have a wired connection and a Wi-Fi connection. Could have Ethernet and Wi-Fi. So we're going to talk more about interfaces. Okay? Right here. So then we need 14 available here, 6 here, 40 here, and those are all plus this interface because they're calling them hosts. Okay? So over here we really need 41, 61. Here we only need 2, right? 1 for here and 1 for here. Here maybe 7, 15, however you might want to think about it. Okay? So you need to come up with the number, the total number you need when you can figure your subnets. So we started out here with this is our starting address, and then this area in green is what we can change because of the 24. 24 says we have 24 prefix bits that are set. So those prefix bits are the yellow area right there. The green is being represented by this 0 here. We can do whatever we want with the green ones there. Okay? I could have done a better job with the colors. So what we did was we drew a line right here because this will give us 62 addresses. 6 bits. How does that work? 2 to the 6, 64, right? 2 for the network and the broadcast gives us 62. I think I did that right. All right. So that would cover this scenario here of 60. So we borrowed 2 bits. So now this direction is the network, and this direction are the interfaces, or interfaces and host, until we get used to talking about that. And so we actually have a combination here of 4 networks. Here, 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 and here. Okay? And then we subnetted them over here. I'll show you that here in a second. Let you think about it for a little bit. So 0, 0 is right here. Right? 0, 0. So we have a 0 here. And then 0, 1 gives us 64. 64 comes from that 1. If you were to look at that place value up here, 64. And then it changes by 64 every time. So the next one here gives us the 128, and this one gives us 192. 64 plus 128 is 192. And that's it. Those are all of our networks. But now, with variable length subnet masking, we can take one of those, like we did here, and subnet it again. So these two parts would stay the same, so we're going to start at 128, and then we can subnet that out. So let me see if I can draw some lines here. So the 0, 0 is this one, 128. 0, 1 is this run, 144, went up by 16. This is a particular place here. And so then 160, 176. So now from, let's see if we can follow this, from this network we now have these networks. And if you notice 176, if you added 16 to that, that would lead us to the next network. So these are like subnets or subnetworks from this network. And they would be a /28, because this was a /26 to this point here, 2 more bits, /28. And then you can, pick your ranges of addresses from those. And then you could take, you could use those, you could assign them to networks, and then I would check them off, when you assign them to a network, if you assign that to a network, check it off. And then you could take one of these that you haven't used, and you could subnet it again if you want to. And in this lab scenario, you'd have to do that in order to cover if you only want it on the WAN connection, if you only want it 2 addresses, use 2 addresses there to save the rest, you could subnet this out to a /30. Alright, we'll do a little subnetting all the way until the end. Take a look at here. This was the lab that we had adjusted. So the students worked on this again today, and I believe when everybody was done, they had connectivity out to the internet. And this lab was from last week. I sent an email referring to it. So everybody's routers are set up, and you could remotely configure, if you weren't here, you could configure your switch, you could configure your router, and from the router you could test your connectivity out to the internet, because everything else is configured. Okay, you'll have to look at the whiteboard review from last Monday. Was it Monday or last Friday? Anyway, check the email I sent, and it has the particulars on it in that email that I sent. Probably sent that on Tuesday of this week. Okay? And we worked on the labs end with Wireshark, and you can download Wireshark at home, and you could do those labs at home. They're going to be due Monday. Well, you should check the due dates. I moved a couple of due dates. The exam for Chapter 9 And these labs are all due on Monday now, by midnight. Okay, and that is it.